Hello, welcome to the channel. My name is Amy and I have bile acid malabsorption. Okay, so just over 2 years ago, I posted a video about how I had been diagnosed with the wrong illness for 14 years, had gone through countless tests and procedures and things, and eventually received the diagnosis that I had needed all that time, which was bile acid malabsorption. That video has proved to be very popular. Lots of people, actually hundreds of people, have commented on it. I've had so many emails from people saying that they have now been diagnosed because they watched that video, and people who have had a similar experience to me just sharing their experience. And it's just been so incredible to hear everyone's stories and to know that that video actually helped some people. I am just so happy that that video not only allowed me to share my story, but it allowed me to also help some of you and also to hear your stories. Because before doing that video, I was the only person I knew that had bile acid malabsorption, and now I know so many people who watch that video also have the condition, or they have had exactly the same symptoms as I was experiencing. And so I just really want to thank everyone for all your comments and emails from watching that video. And yes, today I'm here to give you a bit of an update of how it's going, because when I made that video, I had only just recently got my diagnosis. I just started on my treatment, and I was also pregnant, which was really making it difficult to see how well the treatment was working. So my treatment is this sachet. So this is Cholesteramine. The brand name that I end up getting most of the time is Questron. This is Questron Light, so it doesn't have any sugar in it. I think the Questron that does have sugar in it probably tastes a bit nicer. This stuff tastes disgusting, I'll be honest, it's gross. So this sachet contains a powder that you have to put into a drink, or I think you can put it in soup or something like that, and it doesn't dissolve. So even though you mix it in, it's still there. You just have to have liquid to take it with. So the texture of it is horrible, the taste of it is horrible, but after taking it for 2 years now, I've really got used to it and it doesn't affect me anymore. The way that I get through taking this is to put it in a glass of very strong squash. And also another tip, if you're having to take this, is to then put the squash in the fridge for as long as you can, because the colder it is, I've found, the easier it is to drink. And also I use a straw to drink it. So if you're taking this as well, if you have to take Cholesteramine, those are my tips: to put it in very strong squash to get it as cold as possible, and then once it's in there and you've stirred it, drink it with a straw. So taking Cholesteramine has really changed my life. I think I did mention that in the first video. It's changed my life so much. I still do have flare-ups and pain, and you know, I still experience that. However, it is so much less than it used to be. I feel like I have more of a normal life back in terms of the bowel stuff. So I'm prescribed to take 3 of these a day. It really just depends on how your bile acid malabsorption is and how much you're absorbing and all of that. So I have to take 3 of these a day. However, at the moment I'm not taking 3 a day because I don't need 3 a day. So sometimes I have to tweak it and I can take less, and then I might need to take more another time. It's really kind of like a getting to know you kind of relationship. Sometimes if I take 3 of these, that will cause me problems the other way. So some days I'll only need to take 1, some days I might need to take 2. It's kind of trial and error until you get into a groove with it, but I am in that groove with it now and we understand each other. So yes, that's really helped so much. So I should probably explain what bile acid malabsorption is just quickly, in case anyone is watching this and hasn't seen the first video. So basically, in a nutshell, bile acid malabsorption means that the bile acid that your liver makes isn't absorbed where it should be. So it makes its way into your intestines where it shouldn't be. Your intestines then try to absorb it, which they can't and shouldn't, and that irritates them, which causes extreme abdominal pain, bloating, diarrhea, very, very horrible symptoms. So much pain, and so much time spent on the toilet. And the issue with bile acid malabsorption is that you don't know what's causing it. So before I was diagnosed, I tried so many different diets and things to see if cutting out a certain food would stop it from happening. Obviously I didn't know it was bile acid malabsorption at the time, but to try and stop my symptoms, was it that a particular food was making it flare up? Was it that a certain activity was making it flare up? Was it a certain type of day? But nothing helped. There was no pattern to it. And now I know that that's because there wasn't something external that was affecting my body and my digestive system. It was internal, and it was the bile acid that was the issue. And so cutting different things out of my diet really wasn't helping. Now, there are certain diets that can be more helpful with bile acid malabsorption. I think having less fatty foods can really help, but I don't really have lots of fatty foods. I don't eat meat, that kind of thing. So I don't think that was really affecting me. But for some people who have bile acid malabsorption, dietary changes can really help. Just for me, that hasn't been the case. But yes, it has been incredible, the change that I've seen, and I'm now able to go out to a shop or out for lunch or something without being terrified that I'm going to be stuck in the toilet and then pass out and then have to call an ambulance, you know, those kind of things. It's incredible, really is. So I really just wanted to do this update to let you know that this can have, I suppose I'm not going to say it's a happy ending, because there is no ending. I'll have to be taking this cholesteramine for the rest of my life, and I'll have this condition for the rest of my life. There's no cure for it, but there are things you can do to make the ongoing story a bit happier. And so if you have been having those symptoms and nothing is helping, then I would definitely recommend asking your doctor for a CCAT scan, which is the scan that diagnosed my bile acid malabsorption. That is a test where you take a tablet with some radiation in it. They then do a scan to see what is in your body at the moment, and then I think you go back a week later and they do another scan to see how that radiation moved through your body, how much of it was absorbed or left your system, and then that lets you know whether or not you have bile acid malabsorption. So it's a really easy test. I assume it's quite expensive, and that's why it had never been mentioned to me in those 14 years of being misdiagnosed. And I just want to make it clear that during that 14 years, I wasn't diagnosed and then never saw a doctor again. I was continuing to see doctors throughout those 14 years, continuously, because my symptoms never went away, and so I was always telling them that I couldn't be discharged. But yes, if you want to know more about my diagnosis story and more about the symptoms and the journey it took to get to where I am today, then do take a look at that first video. I will link it in the description box below. If you have any questions about bile acid malabsorption or my journey with it, just leave them in the comments and I will do my best to get back to all of them. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this has been helpful. If it has, please give it a like, as it really helps out the channel. And I will see you in the next video.